Knuckles Sandwich t-shirts and Guy Fieri autographed knife.
Whoa.
How about that? That is a knife. So it's got Guy's autograph on there. And Dan You the Man, Guy. And then I don't know if this is the protective covering for said knife. I don't want to cut myself here. What could go wrong? No. 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 Keep cool, Guy. Maybe. Now this is when. Oh, did you hear what happened to Dan Patrick? Yeah, he cut off his hand. But he did it with a Guy Fieri knife. Thank you, Guy.
We are in the open.
Steak from last Friday, Meat Friday, and then the eggs coming up. And then I've got my Guy Fieri. Trying to think where I hang this up. Maybe I just don't know how that works. Because that looks like it's gonna mean trouble. Maybe that's what it is. But I don't want to, if I put it in there, then I ruin the autograph, don't I? I don't want to do that. I have to figure out what to do with that. Maybe the big German can tell me where to put it. Oh, I'm sure he'll have a line. Let me tell you where you can shove it. Whoa.
Are you using an autograph knife to actually?
No. I just brought it out. That would be disrespectful to Guy Fieri. Guy. I don't know where to put it though.
Put like in there. Put a paper towel out. Oh, you mean where to put it?
Put it. I was thinking of if I just put it like put it in the.
So now, are you putting eggs right in there, or just gonna?
Yeah, I was thinking of doing that.
You need a bigger pan.
I know I do. Oh, I know, Paul. I got it.
You want yelling at you?
I got it. I like when they flip it.
All right. Now you're cooking.
I literally am. And I got the memo from the big German about cleaning up.
Yeah. I washed up my my dish today.
I know.
And we got
Well, you don't get credit for doing it.
Right.
But I understand what the big German was saying. Big German sent out a memo. Make sure you clean up.
Yeah.
Hey, how about putting some water in a pot after you... Now see, I got Reggie coming
Are we allowed to have one? Or do we have to bring our own?
Bring our own what?
Water.
No, we have water.
Eric didn't say we're allowed to have water from the tap. I think we have to bring our own.
Are you going to have some of this?
Yes. If you get spare.
No, well. I'm doing all... Gary Payton, the glove, former defensive player of the year, he did not back down to Michael Jordan. And he talked about his style of roughing up, trying to be physical with Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan had a response to Gary Payton not backing down to MJ.
A lot of people back down to Mike. I didn't. I made it a point. I said, just tire him out. You just got to tire him out. And I kept hitting him and banging him and hitting him and banging him. It took a toll on Mike. It took a toll. And then I feel so resting him a little bit, and then the series changed. And I wish I could have did it earlier. I don't know if the outcome would have been different, but it was a difference and beating him down a little bit.
The glove. I had no problem with the glove. I had no problem with Gary Payton. I had a lot of other things on my mind.
Now, that's Jordan laughing. He's looking at an iPad there of Gary Payton's comments. Now, there's one thing I take away from this, that it feels like it's always there every episode. Mike doesn't give credit to too many people. He'll give credit to Scotty. He'll give credit to Phil. But Michael's still competing. He needed to give a little bit more of an acknowledgement to Gary Payton. Because if you look at the 3 games that Gary Payton guarded Michael Jordan in those NBA Finals, 2 of Mike's worst playoff performances ever were against Gary Payton. Gary Payton deserved credit last night. Not laughing. Not laughing. I thought that was BS. Give him credit. You get the feeling that it was Scotty and Michael and nobody else gets any credit or deserves any credit here. We know Jerry Krause doesn't get any credit, but, acknowledge Gary Payton deserved that. He's one of the great, Hall of Famer. He's one of the great players, two-way players. And he did not back down to Michael Jordan. The game is over, Mike. You won. You won. You won them all, Mike. There's no 5th quarter here. There's no overtime. You won. It's okay to go, you know what? Hey, I was tough on my teammates. That's how I led. Okay. Tough on the opposition. Okay. But respect. Gary Payton didn't walk off the court like the bad boys and not shake your hand. And poor LeBradford Smith, who probably was watching going, wait, they just mentioned me. What did I do? The fact that he created this grudge against LeBradford Smith of the Washington Bullets because he said, nice game, Mike, instead of saying, oh, my God, Mike, you're unbelievable. You're incredible. He said nice game. Oh, I just can't imagine how tiring it must have been to be around Michael. So competitive, always on you. If you beat him at something, he had to go again. I think there was a story with the Dream Team. Chuck Daly beat him in golf, and Michael demanding that they play 18 hole. He wanted another shot at Chuck Daly, the coach. That competition, and if you've been around somebody who is highly competitive, it gets to be tiring. But look, his leadership back then, we admired, we acknowledged. Nowadays, if you were trying to get away with a lot of this stuff, imagine if LeBron, I know it always comes back to LeBron, but I think LeBron is unfairly criticized. I think he's the most critiqued athlete in history. He hadn't done anything wrong. Remember, he said he was taking his talents to South Beach. Kobe invented that phrase. Kobe, at his press conference, when he was leaving high school, says, I'm with sunglasses on his head, said, I'm taking my talents to the NBA. LeBron says, can you believe that? Taking his talents to. Imagine if the story came out that LeBron said, Kevin Love doesn't get to eat after a bad game. Okay? Just imagine that. How many weeks would we spend on that? Or those who are sycophants of Jordan and don't like LeBron James. Well, look at LeBron bullying Kevin Love. I mean, Mike did that to Horace Grant. Didn't let him eat. I mean, that's just one little story. If LeBron punched Kyrie Irving, I mean, let it settle in here. I know Mike's the GOAT. Absolutely. But we let him get away with everything. We don't let LeBron get away with anything. Michael Jordan has become Babe Ruth. We allow Babe Ruth to get away with everything. Hey, you went out on your wife. You drank all the time. You ate. You're a pig. You blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but he cold shot. Man, 700 home runs. Bryce Harper's hair's too long. You spend a couple of days on. I mean, come on. We can't pick and choose with this, and we've done that with Jordan. We pick and choose, or LeBron. Mike, everything about this, awesome. Hey, whatever he does, he's awesome. Here's your numbers with Gary Payton. And this is why it did bother me with the belly laugh that Mike had. 1996 NBA Finals versus Seattle. Games 1, 2, and 3, Michael averaged 31 and shot 46% from the floor. Games 4, 5, and 6, when Gary Payton guarded him, Michael averaged under 24 and shot 36% from the floor. That's not a belly laugh. That's not. Just acknowledge somebody might have gotten the better of you occasionally, Mike.
Dan, coming in hot on a Monday with a huge I-Team Mother's Day report. I sent you guys a photo series our surveillance team had set up in the toddler's household. Now, I'm going to run through some of these pictures before I ask the group a question. There is Todd uncomfortably setting the kitchen table.
This looks doctored.
Save it, Dan.
Okay.
There is Todd in front of the stove from one of the first times on record, cooking something. Appears to be heating something. And the fire is on. Then there's a picture of Todd proudly bringing in some grilled chicken. It appears that he hasn't cleaned the grill grates in a couple of years. That's why the black marks are there. And then there's Todd serving dinner. It looks like some type of pasta dish, and then the aforementioned grilled chicken, and then maybe a calzone or wrapped bread of some type. Todd, and then at the end, there's Todd, or a superimposed version of him doing the dishes. Just say yay or nay. Believes that Todd came up with, made, and served dinner to his family and cleaned the dishes with no assistance.
Nay.
Dan?
Wow.
Nay.
I'm going to go yay. I believe in Todd. Seaton?
I'm a nayer.
Again, it's came up with the menu, cooked it, served it, and cleaned up. McLovin?
Hard nay.
Hard nay.
This is staged.
Todd, walk us through what happened.
I posed for the pictures. Jen, actually, my lovely wife, took the pictures. I said, the guys will never believe that I'm actually cooking you Mother's Day. It took this long for me to cook a meal. But that's a rice dish with a little rice-a-roni. Nothing fancy. It wasn't like a 7-course meal or anything. But yeah, there was chicken on the grill, rice, and I set the table. I did the dishes. And
Wait, just to clarify, because it was very confusing what you started with. Did you or did you not cook dinner for your family?
I cooked dinner. I cooked the rice, I cooked the chicken, I set the table, I cleaned the dishes, everything you see there. The only thing I'm a little embarrassed about was if it was really doctored, I wouldn't be in an old Bill Romanowski jersey and like ripped gray sweatpants. I didn't really dress for the occasion. I could have stepped that part of the game up. That was kind of weak, that was my Mother's Day attire, even though we're quarantined and we're inside.
Anyone calling BS on the cooking part?
It's a photo op. I mean, it's nice. It's nice that you're trying to present that like you did it finally. That's all your wife asked you for years.
Yeah.
To cook a meal for years for Mother's Day.
Todd, did you cook the meal because you wanted to do something nice for your wife on Mother's Day, or because we guilted you on Friday's show?
I would say 85% would be the grief I'd get from you guys if I didn't do what you were kind of instructing me to do. But I did want to do something nice for Jen, but it was definitely relating to Monday's show and how.
So Dan, she should thank us.
Oh, no, I'm good. She didn't have to. I
think it all depends on how the food tasted. If she should thank us.
She might be angry.
Everyone seemed pleased with it. The kids seemed pleased.
Well, they're probably confused of what was going on and who this man was in their kitchen cooking.
I will say that calzone thing, that chicken palm roll thing, that was a purchased item. But the rice and the chicken and the setting of the table and the dishwasher and the washing the dishes, all that was legitimate stuff. But I am a little embarrassed about that. I forgot about the clothing part. That just looked very, very slovenly.
3:35 in the afternoon, you're setting the table once again.
Oh,
yeah!
Wow, that is a bombshell.
That's just a photo op.
Is there anything you'd like to admit,
just
Todd?
Staged.
There's nothing to admit. I was excited about doing something special for the wife, and she wasn't looking for jewels or diamonds or flowers or chocolates or anything.
Yes, she was.
Unless I was tricked. I know we discussed that Friday. What they say they want is not necessarily or that they don't want.
That's a good catch, by the way, with the clock. It's setting the table at 3:30.
There's nothing else to do.
But you know what's weird though? There's a second clock. In
I know.
picture.
I was going to bring that one up, Seaton.
And that's at almost 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
So somehow this turned into a almost 5-hour event between setting the table and cooking those pieces of chicken.
It takes a while.
Yeah.
when you're an amateur.
That was my next piece of evidence, counselor. I was going to bring that one up. It's like, wait a minute here.
There's a Swiffer in the background
Yeah,
of one picture too.
that's staged.
Suspect.
That's staged. Your wife's like, let's put the Swiffer in there. Like you did that too.
Dan, you want us to stay on this story?
Yes. I want answers.
But what kind of psycho would make up Rice-A-Roni in the year 2020?
Exactly.
Only Todd.
Yeah, but Todd lives in the 80s when Rice-A-Roni was big.
Psycho.
Only serial killers use Rice-A-Roni in this day.
You've seen my notebook.
Rice-A-Roni.
I didn't think about the continuity of you guys are great with that, with the
Is
clock and everything. And
Rice-A-Roni, chicken, and some kind of stromboli.
chicken parm roll.
Completely.
Walk
Definitely
around
not
in
a
your
Guy Fieri area for
bare feet.
That's the other thing. Yeah, I didn't have socks or shoes on.
God. When do you think your relationship changed with Tiger?
So I've always appreciated and respected what he has done for the game of golf and what he's done for me, because when he increased the ratings, nobody benefited more than I did on the course and off the course. And Dan, there was a moment in 1991 when I won my first PGA Tour event. The entire purse was $1 million, and the first place check was 180,000. And as I was starting my career, I thought and wondered if there would ever be a point where we would have a first place check of $1 million, because all these other athletes were signing for these big contracts. And I did not think it would happen in my career. And Tiger comes along, gets golf on the front page. And next thing you know, sponsors want in, and we're playing for $1 million+ first place check every single week now. And it's been like that for quite some time. And I've always attributed that to him, and as well as the increased opportunities off the golf course that he has provided. So I've always had this respect for what he's done for me and my family, because nobody's benefited more. But I think our relationship turned around 2016 when we were working together for the Ryder Cup.
Mm-hmm.
He was an assistant captain, and we ended up spending a lot of time on the phone, getting ready, talking about players, picks, strategies, alternate shot, and course setup, and all these things, and getting an idea to see how prepared he was and meticulous with each little thing. I had a new respect for him. But when we worked together for a common goal, which was to win the Ryder Cup, it brought us closer. I think that was kind of the turning point.
Who came up with the idea to have you with Tiger, Payton, and Tom Brady?
That's a good question. I don't know where it really came from. There's the gentleman, Brian Zerf, who does the Ray Donovan show on Showtime, who's kind of our executive producer. He and I have become friends, and we've been talking about the match for quite a long time. In fact, he and I were the ones that kind of came up with the idea years ago and brought it to CAA and had it developed before we even brought it to Tiger. And he's got a very creative mind, and thought that the interaction between two other players and as a partner was going to be an important part of improving our match. Because when Tiger and I came down the stretch in Vegas, we clammed up. We didn't talk. We didn't communicate. We tightened up, and we needed a partner there to get something out of us. And so, because we won't have caddies, Brady and I will be talking about each shot, club selection, wind, break, and so forth. It's almost like I'll be his caddy, he'll be mine, and we'll be feeding off of each other. And so you'll hear a lot more interaction. Plus, the fact that Brady and Manning especially is such a good smack talker, it will be entertaining because of that. You know, he is so funny in the way he delivers his lines. Manning is that he elicits a response of laughter rather than a defensive response, which a lot of times when you're cutting somebody up, it can come in a little hot and you can get defensive. And Manning does such a good job of making it funny.
You've played with Brady. Peyton's played with Tiger, and you played with Tom. Is that how the team's formed?
I think so. I've played a number of rounds with Tom now. And in fact, I had one of the greatest moments, Dan, one of those interesting moments that occurred when I did play with Tom. It was about a week or two before he was going to start throwing with Edelman, getting ready for training camp. And we were at Augusta National. And he asked if I would go catch some passes. I said, yeah, I'd love to catch passes, Tom Brady. We're 20 yards away. It's 7:15 in the morning, and it's half dark out. And he's throwing these balls so hard that I'm worried about busting a finger. I only catch the second half of the pass. And so if the ball wasn't on my torso, I couldn't catch it. if it was off to the side, I would end up missing it. And I was so cautious about bending my fingers in a way, having them so that I don't jam a finger. If there were 3 times that a ball hit the palm, that it got through my fingers and hit the palm of my hand, and all 3 times I had a nerve shot go right up my arm. And I thought, that's got to be so hard to be running full speed with a helmet on, bobbing up and down, and have these balls coming in with such heat and grab them. It gave me a new respect for how good those guys are. But that was one of those unique moments that I kind of look back on and laugh and cherish, because who gets to catch passes with Tom Brady at Augusta National at 7:15 in the morning?
But imagine if he breaks your finger. And somebody says, "Oh, how'd you break your finger?" Tom Brady threw a pass at me.
Yeah. So that wouldn't
be good.
Could be looked at either way, but it was 2 weeks before the Masters, so I didn't want to miss the Masters because of that.
I needed some help with my game, so you go back to the range. You go back into the lab. My game wasn't Pebble Beach ready, and I had to kind of figure out what was going wrong. This is with a sand wedge. Couple things I'm working on. Maybe some of the golf pros out there can help me. I have a tendency to overuse my right hand, so I'll close it at impact. I'm trying to. I was positioned wrong, so I was over here. Now I had to almost point to the right side, almost overdo it. And what I'm trying to do is Hideki Matsuyama, very slow takeaway. So I'm trying to go slow takeaway, and then come through by moving this way, so my club drops. I have a tendency to come here, and that's not good. So just to refresh, making sure I'm aimed a little bit more to the right, get my right hand out of the swing, slow takeaway, and then there you go. Sand wedge, 100 yards, I'm good. And I go up there and I make the putt. Did you say anything after a game to George? Did you say like good game? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
I was taught, yes, but I was very young when I was a rookie, and he let me know. That's when the whole Black Jesus thing came up. And he was like, "Don't ever speak to Black Jesus like that." I was like, "Wait, first of all, you're referring to yourself in the third party by calling yourself Black Jesus?" I said that to myself. I was like, "Oh, okay."
Wait. Hold on. So set the scene where Mike refers to himself in third person.
I'm a rookie, exhibition game. We're playing in one of these crazy small towns because that's where exhibition games are, to kind of spread the wealth and the love of basketball. And Mike's going through the motion. It's an exhibition game. Who cares? I'm a rookie. I'm going 130 miles an hour because I'm trying to show my teammates, and you're going against Michael Jordan. And Chuck Person's egging me on, like, that's Michael Jordan? Really? Look what you're doing to him. First half. Michael's just going through it, right? I got 10 or 12 by half. He has like 2 or 4, and I'm like just talking to him like, you can walk on water? That's what they say? This is it? This is Air Jordan? And he looks at me. He's like, okay. So the second half, he ends with 45. So I had 10. I ended with 12. So he outscored me 40-2. And as we're walking off, he subtly says, "Hey, don't ever talk to Black Jesus like that." And I looked at him, and I looked at Chuck, and Chuck shrugged his shoulder. And I was like, "You're right, Black Jesus." And I just kept walking off. And that's kind of what probably started our somewhat contentious relationship. But I should have known better, but I can't hold my tongue. That's my problem.
Shaq says that we shouldn't have a season because nobody's going to recognize this year's champion as a true champion. What do you make?
I think they will definitely recognize it, but I do agree. I think we're getting to that point where we may need to just scrap this and start anew next year. I just don't see any positive things coming out of restarting this. We're 2 months in now, right?
Yeah.
I think we'll get a lot of injuries once we come back because guys are going to try to – they won't train right. And you see a lot of these injuries at the start of the season because guys are not in shape. I just don't see any benefit from it. So I think if we do resume play and there is a champion, there won't be an asterisk behind it because it's still a championship, just like the lockout year when San Antonio won and Phil Jackson was saying there's going to be asterisks. No, you ended up winning the championship. You'll be recognized as that. But I do agree with him. We should start really looking at next season and just starting fresh.
All right, best and worst of the weekend. Todd, I'll start with you.
My best of the weekend, my wife's appreciative smile for preparing dinner and taking care of the dishes last night, even though you guys questioned the way I was just posing and pretending to be cooking.
That's sad.
Why? What's sad?
Wait, who did the dishes?
I did the dishes.
Oh, I thought you said she did the dishes.
No, that she appreciated me taking care of the dishes and preparing dinner.
All right.
My worst of the weekend, Shaq, saying we should scrap the NBA season altogether, come back next year, says no one will really respect the champion. There'll be an asterisk. And that kind of bummed me out that Shaq's ready to say, let's just do next year.
Yeah, I'm not ready to attach an asterisk by this. I mean, it's going to be challenging, but we're not giving anybody an advantage. So it's going to be, strike shortened season. When's the last time somebody brought up a strike shortened season when somebody won a title? It doesn't come up. I mean, is there an asterisk by the Astros? Maybe, but I don't think there's an asterisk by if the Lakers win this year. Now, people who don't like LeBron are going to go, yeah, but. McLovin, best and worst of the weekend.
Best is I watched an old NBA game, Allen Iverson versus Vince Carter in the 2000 playoffs. Do you remember that? It was Toronto and Philly.
Did he have Did Iverson have like 50 in that game?
54. Vince Carter set the NBA record for threes in a playoff game with 9. He had 50. Iverson could not be stopped. There was nothing to do. And my worst was BJ Armstrong talking trash to the Bulls when he got traded to the Hornets. That was a mistake.
That didn't work out. Seton O'Connor, best and worst.
The best moment from The Last Dance last night was, I think it might have opened the episode, but Craig Sager is off camera asking Jerry Krause a question. He's talking about, with all the backstabbing that's going on. And Jerry Krause obviously takes exception to the question. He doesn't really care for it. And he's like, all right, that's it. The press conference is over. And he walks off. And there's just some other reporter who goes, way to go, Craig.
I thought it was so funny because Sager was not afraid to ask a question. Not afraid to ask a tough question. Never.
Way to go, Craig.
Yeah, and then you just hear it where...
It was so funny.
Oh, it's such a great line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My worst of the weekend, though, was I had forgotten that when Michael Jordan was playing baseball, it was just leading into the 94-95 strike, which then immediately made me think of Donnie Baseball.
Mattingly.
Man.
Yeah.
That was the shot. That was the chance.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Polyester, best and worst.
Multiple reports that the UK government has given the Premier League Soccer League the green light to resume the season June 1st. As a Liverpool fan, this is fantastic that they can maybe win it on the field. They're way ahead. And then I wouldn't call this worst of the weekend. Just I was watching a lot of UFC Friday night. The fight, Tony Ferguson, he took a beating, and afterwards he had his eye socket broken. And his eye looked like something out of a movie. I mean, it was jacked up, but what a tough dude. Tony Ferguson.